the first time I've done anything like this, but I've been kind of living for them at the moment on YouTube and watching some other am I the asshole, whichever you want to go for. ASMR anyway. I've got a couple of stories that I've only read the title of because I want my natural reaction, so we'll go through and see what they are and just, I guess, read through them as we have a nice coffee in the morning. So let's start things off. I love these kind of videos. Okay, so this story is called Mother-in-Law Won't Accept My Boys as Her Grandchildren. This looked juicy, so I thought we'd start with this. I have been married to my husband for over a decade. Oh, they're not doing the normal layout. That's okay though. I have been married to my husband for over a decade. We have a large blended family. My husband adopted my 2 boys. We all live together, mother-in-law included. Almost 2 years ago I was fixing beds upstairs and heard my mother-in-law talking to her friend on the phone. I guess she hadn't talked to her friend in a long time. She was updating her on everything. I heard her say that she had 6 grandchildren and her son married a woman with kids. I was floored. My kids call her grandma and she was nice to them, but I couldn't believe it. She was present at the adoption hearing and acted happy. She goes to school functions and says they're her grandchildren. I was really hurt and cried to my husband. He talked to her and she didn't understand why I would be upset because they weren't his biological children. He said they are his kids. Over the years before this happened, she would always tell me what my kids did. She would never say ours. She also took a picture with her grandchildren and excluded mine. She said she was recreating an old pic, but it included my youngest stepdaughter and my husband wasn't in it. But I guess in the photo included the youngest stepdaughter, maybe. I told my husband it was, it must be. I told my husband it was bullshit. She also rewrote her will to include her grandchildren minus my kids after the adoption. I don't want her money, but I was hurt she didn't consider them. She also opened bank accounts for all of them except my kids. She even opened one for my stepdaughter's child. She told my husband, I am the one causing the divide, but my husband and I raised the kids as ours. I took care of his children like my own. Recently, I had enough and moved out because I don't feel my kids should be treated like second-class citizens. My mother-in-law is strict with my children, but let his kids run wild. My children are expected to be well behaved. If I say anything, she will lash out. She especially goes after our 14-year-old son, who is extremely smart and, in all honesty, classes with straight A's. If I say the kids didn't clean up their mess, she will say my son isn't perfect and to keep my mouth shut. My husband is in the middle, but I can't put my kids through this anymore. I just want my kids to have a good life and not be treated like garbage. My kids are 2 and 3 when we got together. Or were 2 and 3 when we got together. They are now 14 and 15 now. Am I the asshole for getting upset with my mother-in-law because I thought we were a family? But I find out we are 2 different families even after all these years. Well, before I even look at any of the comments, that sounds like a kind of complicated issue. I'm inclined to say no. I mean, you are it. Obviously, no, you're not. Regardless of the situation, you're not. For being upset about it and feeling, I don't know, betrayed, I guess, by not only the grandmother but the husband as well. It seems you're not the arsehole. What I will say is, at the beginning, I was like, I don't know the situation of the call. Like, she can only hear one side of the line, right? You can't hear what the other person is saying. And she could have been like, oh, so like, you have, like, she could have missed the part where she said, like, oh, my husband married someone and they did have kids. And the question was like, oh, so like, how many grandchildren have your makes it sound like a little bit more like it was a question about biology. I know, which really is no one's business anyway. But yeah, I don't know like what the context of that call could have been, but the other stuff really makes it seem that she's not happy with the situation. I don't know, like, if it were me, those kids, but it's not even like they were teenagers, right? It's not even like they were teenagers when they were brought into the family. They were 2 and 3, they were babies. They wouldn't, I don't even know if they would remember any other family members. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have that mentality, because if you're, yeah, I mean, if the dad is adopted as well, that's outrageous. It's not even like 2 families get married. Like, I could understand if the kids were like, well, the age that they are, or maybe slightly younger if they were brought into the family, because at that point, you know, they've kind of been raised in a different household, they've been raised differently, and there isn't really that same kind of family bond. But if the kids were that age, they call her grandma, and she doesn't see it that way, that is heartbreaking. I would be heartbroken if I found out my in-laws were treating my kids that way after, like, they gave them all that love and they were not reciprocating it. It would be heartbreaking. So I don't think she's the asshole. I think the husband, oh my god, yeah, the husband needs to grow a backbone, I think, and like say, these are my kids. They may not have my blood, but I have raised them since they were children, and I would turn around to that mother and say, if that were me, I would turn around to my mother and say to her, would you say this about any other adopted kids? If I went to an orphanage and adopted a child, would you have excluded them? If not, then shut the fuck up. Yeah, the mother-in-law sounds like a bitch. It sounds like she's a purist, if I'm honest. Like, it's blood all the way, and I'm gonna hazard a guess that is how she's raised other people as well. That said, the husband adopted those kids, so maybe there's some hope for him. But yeah, not the arsehole at the in the slightest. But let's see. Yeah, not the arsehole. Do these get voted? I don't actually remember if these get voted or not. I'm not sure, but all I can see is just people responding. Not the arsehole. You should always put your kids first. But your husband is not stuck in the middle. He's choosing his side by simply not doing anything, and that is it. What is the term? Ignorance is complacency. Oh no, complacency is complicitness. And what that basically means is, if you see someone doing something wrong and you are complacent in doing something to stop it, you are therefore complicit in what happens because you could stop it and you didn't, and therefore you are part of the problem. And that is the same as, like, if you walk by and see a crime being committed, if you do nothing about it, you are complicit in allowing that to happen. You are and that's, you know, a statement often used in regards to oppression. If you see something going wrong or something bad happening and you don't stop it, you are therefore complicit in that oppression. And that is exactly what's happening here. He's complicit in it because he's not doing anything to stop it. Very, very sad. It's such a shame. I get why she moved out. Did it say she moved out? Yeah, moved out. Man, that sucks. It would suck. It must suck awfully for the kids who probably don't understand. But also, like, if it was like a year or two, it'd be heartbreaking for those kids. But at least they could maybe move on. But fuck, that's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Let's see what other people have said. I'm going to do all of these, by the way. Yeah, no matter how long this goes, I know I've already spoken 5 minutes about the thing. Your mother-in-law is the arsehole. And toxic. Mother-in-law sucks a lot. Your husband sucks worse. She's his mother. It's up to him to advocate for the kids. If he's not willing to properly, then unfortunately he doesn't consider them equal either. Yeah, you did the right thing leaving. I recently read a very similar story from mother-in-law's perspective, where she painted her daughter-in-law as a gold digger who had ill-behaved children that smoked and were disrespectful. She said her daughter-in-law overheard her talking about how her will wouldn't have daughter-in-law's children, and that daughter-in-law flipped her lid that the kids weren't treated fairly. Majority of the comments called OP not the arsehole, and that daughter-in-law was manipulative gold digger. Not sure if it's the same mother-in-law, but the kids' ages and stories are very similar sounding. The OP's actually replied to that and said, "That is not me, my kids don't smoke, and one of my son is an honour roll student who is very respectful." I'm just going to say, by the way, calling your kids disrespectful because they smoke is fucking stupid. Like, I'm not going to lie, doing, like, smoking as a kid is bad for you. Like, you should not do it, but it doesn't make you a bad person. I started smoking when I was very young. It pisses me off. It really, really pisses me off when people use certain things as, like, tropes. It's like saying, like, the classic, you're into Satanism if you play D&D, as was the Satanic Panic. It's fucking stupid. I'm sorry, it's just stupid. That annoyed me. Anyway, that's that story. I'm going to move on before I rage any further. Oh, this is a really short one, so I actually didn't look at how short this was. I guess we'll see. So this one is called "Am I the arsehole for getting upset at my boyfriend for saying I'm too skinny?" I think we all know what the answer of this one's going to be. My boyfriend, she's named him. I mean, it's just a first name, right? It doesn't matter. My boyfriend Carter, 24M, has made a few remarks lately about my body and how I need to fatten up. His words exactly. Keep in mind, I've always been on the smaller side no matter how much I eat. If anything, I feel like I eat too much food but never gain weight. But the most recent remark has made me upset, which was him comparing me to his ex, who was a lot thicker with big boobs. He said, "Don't get me wrong, you're hot as fuck and I love you sometimes." Oh, I love you, but sometimes, important distinction, I love you, but sometimes I think about my ex's body. And I was like, "Are you serious right now? We've been fighting about this for the last few days, and I don't know if I'm overthinking or not." Oh, come on now. Come on now, leave that bastard. Leave that motherfucker. What the fuck is wrong with that guy? First of all, it's no one's place to make judgments about other people's bodies, no matter what the case is. Okay? It's never okay. Ever. Okay, and maybe there's a few like statements there that maybe that's an exaggeration. If someone's going to come at you for your body, you've opened that can of worms. That's my opinion on that. If someone's going to come at you for your body, don't open that can of worms if you are not prepared to deal with the fallout of it. That said, you should never use it as a weapon against someone else. Certainly not if they're not coming for you. But that's obviously not the case here. Overall, it's no one's place to judge someone about their body, and a lot of people that do have bodies that they're not happy with, know they're not happy with their body and they want to change it, but sometimes that's not possible. Like, you see shows where there are people that are overweight, okay, and substantially so, and that is used as a joke to mock people. But actually, if you watch those shows, sometimes, a lot of the times, they come from either genetic issues that they cannot help it. It biologically is extremely difficult for them to not be that size, and there are other times where there are serious psychological things where they might have eating disorders, and eating disorders doesn't just mean things like bulimia. opinion. And I feel like the distinction between the two kind of makes psychological not feel as weighted, which is why I say that. But like, there's a difference between like the genetic issues and the psychological issues, and like they still exist, they're still valid, and they can still be genuine causes for that. And so like making fun of people for that reason is just stupid. But going beyond that and saying to your partner that not only do you want them to change their body, which is just fucked up, because it's not even like I'm scared about your health. Like, that's different. I think sitting down and genuinely saying to someone, look, I love you, but I'm worried about your health. You know, I want you to live a long life, and I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm expressing my concern, and that, you know, what you do is up to you. That is a conversation that could happen. Doesn't mean that it's going to be an easy one, doesn't mean that you get to make judgments, but I think it's a fair conversation to have, just as you might say to someone who is smoking, you know. You might say to your partner, like, we got together, you were smoking, or like you started smoking, and I'm scared, I don't want you to die. And that's fair. But to turn around and be like, do you know what, you're too skinny, you need to put weight on, like, I want you to have bigger boobs, and I love you, but I just keep thinking about my ex. The moment the ex comes up, that is like, well, now you can think about this ex, because he is comparing your body to hers, which means he still thinks about her, and he can fucking do one, really. This man needs to be single. Man, I cannot believe hating myself enough to really talk to a woman like that. I just don't fathom it. Like, it's not even a question, just leave. I think she obviously cares about him, and she's looking for affirmation that she is doing something wrong. She's trying to gaslight herself, and it's sad. Not the arsehole I dumped him is a loser who couldn't pull his preference, so he found somebody who thought he could change into his preference. It's a good one. Not the arsehole, but if you don't let him go, you will be. Yeah. Your boyfriend's an idiot. You need to have a serious talk. If you want to stay with him, no, don't even stay with him. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, because it's that is one of the fundamental things that you just don't do. And no. Oh yeah, someone's gone LMFAO. He's 24. I would expect something like that being said by a 15-year-old, not someone in their mid-20s. I think you'd be surprised the pieces of shit that are in their 20s, because he really shouldn't be talking about his ex with you. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So I think that's self-explanatory, that one. Let's move on to the last one. And get into the next one. So here we go. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister she can't have her wedding at my house? My 30M. Oh, right, it's in him, yeah. I always get mixed up by this. So, my 30M sister, 28F, recently got engaged and is planning a wedding for next summer. She and her fiance are trying to save money, so she asked if she could have the wedding at my house. Interesting. I live in a nice, spacious home with a large backyard, so it'd be perfect for an outdoor ceremony and reception. I thought you can't get married in certain places. Okay. Initially, I was open to the idea. However, as we started discussing details, it became clear that it would be a huge undertaking. My sister wants to invite around 150 guests, which would require extensive preparations, renting tents, tables and chairs, arranging for parking, and setting up portable teas, since my house can't accommodate that many people. Moreover, she expects me to cover a significant portion of the cost because it's family. Ooh. And she's already on a tight budget. I would also have to take time off work to help with the setup and clean up, and the event would likely cause significant wear and tear on my property. I expressed my concerns to my sister and suggested looking for a more affordable venue or scaling back the guest list. She was very upset, saying that I was selfish and unsupportive. She even accused me of not caring about her happiness and trying to ruin her big day. Now her parents and some other family members are pressuring me to reconsider, saying it's just one day and I should be willing to make the sacrifice for my sister. They argue that it's a small price to pay for family and that I'll regret it if I don't help her out. I feel terrible about the situation, but I also think it's unreasonable to expect me to take on such a big financial and logistical burden. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister she can't have my wedding? Can't have her wedding at my house? Okay, I've got something to say here. If all of them are happy with him doing that, why don't they fund for it? And why don't they pay for any damages that are incurred? There you go. Problem solved. Oh, you don't want to do that? Then don't make your goddamn son trying to pay for the whole fucking wedding. Oh my god, what is it with siblings making their other siblings pay for their fucking wedding? They did not decide to get married. Oh my gosh, and that is coming from someone who is engaged. I would never ask my family or demand my family pay for it. Like, I think it's difficult. I think it's okay to be like, I am taking donations. If anyone is willing and able to help contribute, I would be grateful for that. That's okay, I think. But having that expectation is just moronic. I don't get why people are like that. I get it, because they're entitled, that's why. It's her big day and she needs it to be the way that she wants it. Look, they're expensive ordeals, they're complicated ordeals, and quite frankly, I kind of get wanting a big guest list. I would love to have, like, lots of people that are important in my life be there. But that said, 150 is kind of crazy. Who are these 150 people? Who are they? Maybe she has maybe they both have big families. But yeah, I don't get what it is about, like, me having these expectations of other people. Okay, he has a big house, great. It's okay to maybe say, look, if it's okay, I would, like, we are doing a budget, your house is amazing, you know, we know each other, can we work something out? But if that is the case, you have to be willing to compromise. He has been accommodating very clearly. He said, I'm concerned, but here are, like, here are some accommodations that I am willing to make, like reducing the guest list, or looking for a more affordable venue. He's not even said just no. He said no because you are unwilling to compromise. First of all, I think it goes without saying, you are not the arsehole here. It's a wild expectation that is unfair to burden on you, and your sister has wild expectations. So that's what I think about it anyway. And the rest of the family pressuring, like, unless you're going to get yourself involved and either fund for a large portion of it or do these other things, shut the fuck up. You don't get to tell people what they do with their property. I just can't fathom it. I really cannot. He's been willing and you've rejected that. If I were him and I was still willing, I would say, look, I'm willing for you to use my house. There are concessions on that. You have to reduce the numbers, because I cannot afford, like, I cannot damage the property, and if they're adamant on that, then that's just the choice they made. Or say to the other family members, if you think I should do it, then I think you should pay for it as well. I think you should be willing to take on the costs. If I'm providing the home, you can provide the money, you can provide the down payment on the deposit of if anything is damaged. If my flooring is damaged, you will replace it. If my garden is damaged, you will have it fixed. If there is a need for anything else that I don't already own, you can pay for it. I mean, if you're saving on a venue, which is one of the most expensive parts of a wedding, then you can afford to pay for these other things. Also, why would you want to do it there? Like, porta potties at a wedding? That is fucking gross. Imagine going and having this lovely wedding and then taking a shit in a plastic bin. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Let's take a look at some of the comments. We're getting to like half an hour now. I'm at the dregs of my coffee, not the arsehole. 50 is too many for a house wedding. 150, just no. I don't know, like, I guess it depends on the size of the house and like the amount of people working to help make it work, you know. It's just like, for me, that would be a lot. But yeah, I don't know how you would be able to engage with 150 people at the wedding. Like, the food alone would be ridiculous. Let's see. Yeah, someone's replied to that saying, also, saying it's just one day. That's at least 1 week before the wedding, and another after, plus the lawn will be absolutely shredded with 150 people. Yep. The garden's gonna be fucked. Let's see what else other people have said. They're all gonna agree with me 100%. Why the hell are 150 guests going to park out on your, I assume, residential street? His family is used to demand forgiveness, acceptance, of so much toxic bullshit that you would normally punch someone for. That is such a good take. Because it's so fucking true. It's so true. The amount alone on this subreddit that people use that as an excuse is crazy. Not the arsehole. One does not simply save money at a massive wedding. She wants to have it be cheaper. That's a smaller event. Having your house be the venue means that she has chosen a venue with limited capacity. Absolutely. That is absolutely correct. That capacity being decided by you and only you. Yes, sir. This person is called Hi, I'm Dadbot. Just like she can't tell the owner of an event hall she needs to shove another 100 people into his space, she can't tell you to have more guests than you want in your space. If she becomes fine with that, your contribution to the cost is providing the venue. Exactly what I said. You have provided the venue. That is your contribution to the cost of the wedding, and probably helping with the setup and clean up. Even that, I would say, like, I would have family come round and do that. If I would maybe contribute a few days, but like if I'm doing that, I'm not being funny, but I just can't. If I have to work, I have to work. And probably helping with the cost. I already said that. The rest is on her. If she can't afford the wedding of her dreams, she said also for just a nice wedding. Exactly. The wedding, like, I'm not being funny, but weddings are great. But why splash on the wedding when you can splash on the honeymoon? Have a wedding that is meaningful. Make it pretty. Make it nice. Have a nice wedding. But It's not meant to be. Like, if you have the money to do that, whatever, fine. But that's not the point of the wedding. But the money that you save on that could be going to an amazing honeymoon experience. That's just my opinion. Not the arsehole 20 to 30 people is a reasonable backyard wedding. Expecting you to fit any of the bill is ridiculous. They're already using your house. Yeah, it's probably just going to be the same thing. Or this one I really want to look at. Someone else giving their experience. 2 years ago, I hosted a wedding in my house for my wife's niece. 120 invited guests. Probably 80 turned up. Wow, 40 people just didn't turn up for a wedding. That says a lot, doesn't it, about the person? Mother of the bride paid for food and tent. I paid for toilet rentals, beer/drinks. That's a lot given you also did the... why the fuck were you paying for that? Okay. I live in the country and have parking for 500 cars if I actually need it. Well, that's fair. You probably have a great venue then. The wedding itself was lovely. The early indications were very encouraging. Nothing like OP, and the result was that I barely speak to any of them anymore. Civil, low contact only when necessary. 2 people in the entire family helped, and if it were not for my friends helping, it would not have even happened. If your sister wasn't being a selfish twat already, I would say don't do it. This person's 100% British. I don't know anyone else that says twat. I would say don't do it. So at this point, my advice is to avoid doing it. If it requires faking your own death. Okay, I don't understand the last part. I kind of want to hear this guy's story. I want to know what this guy did at the wedding, like what happened. Not that they did anything, but like, as in like just what happened in that situation. There we go. Is your sister high? I can see is the next comment. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed doing. I'm definitely doing more of these. They're so juicy, and they're a lot of fun to do. And I get to make some hot takes. Did you agree with my hot takes today? Did you think anyone was the arsehole? I didn't. I think they were or not the arseholes. But yeah, let me know if you want to see more of these videos. I probably will end up doing more of them anyway. So, but if you let me know in the comments, I know to do them more frequently. So if you enjoyed, I would appreciate if you dropped a like. Let me know that you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing if you aren't already, and check out some of the other videos appearing on the side of the screen. Some other different kinds of videos appearing most likely, and I will see you in the next video, whatever that might be. Take care.